tech news now. Nigerian e-health pharmaceutical distribution startup DrugStoc has secured $4.4 million in a Series A funding round. The funding round was led by Africa Healthcare Master Fund, AAIC, Chicago-based venture firm Vested World, German Development Bank, amongst others. Joining us to discuss how to improve pharmaceutical supply chains in Nigeria is the CEO and co-founder of DrugStoc, Chibuzo Opara. He joins us from Dusseldorf, Germany. Good morning, sir. Congrats on the raise. I wanted to ask you, what are your plans for the funds that are going forward for the company?
Good morning, and thank you for having me on Arise TV. So basically, our plans are to keep the expansion work going. Currently, we cover just under 8 million people, 8 to 10 million people through our partners. And we're looking to drive these numbers up in the next couple of years to covering over 100 million people. That's giving 100 million people access to good quality pharmaceutical products that are anti-counterfeit. This funding will go towards expanding our IT and our logistics infrastructure.
What is the answer to improving the supply chain issues that we see for pharmaceuticals in Nigeria?
So that's a very good question. The challenges that have arisen due to the fragmentation in the sector. We at DrugStoc believe that the solution is utilizing tech to leapfrog these brick and mortar infrastructure challenges that decaying and reduced investment into these supply chains have caused their attrition. And what we do at DrugStoc is to deploy our tech platforms, bringing these pharmaceutical products closer to the patients, the healthcare providers, and all people who are in need of pharmaceutical products. In Lagos, for instance, we deliver within 24 hours after a hospital or pharmacy or a healthcare provider places an order. And outside Lagos, we do 3 to 7 days.
Great stuff. So on our Newsday program about a couple months ago, we had Dr. Adeyemi Johnson, the CEO of First Cardiologists. He was talking about the challenges of importing medical equipment into the country. Let's take a listen to what he said. I want you to react to this.
The biggest challenge for us, I think, in my opinion, is bringing in medical equipment and consumables. It is very difficult. Very, very difficult. Apart from expense, then you got to go through customs. Then you got to go through NAFDAC. Then you got to go through, I think it's SONCAP.
Even in these times of COVID-19 and the worldwide
It is
pandemic?
very difficult because the amount of paperwork you have to provide to prove you're not trying to, like in some instances, you bring in operating theater lights. If you do not do the paperwork tight, customs will call it a chandelier. Then you got to pay this sort of thing. So without trying to get into trouble, some of the policies and agencies the government has in place seem to be counterproductive. And that's one thing I hope we can eventually sort out, because it is difficult to bring in equipment.
All right. So, you talked about using tech as a platform to leapfrog infrastructure challenges. How do you get past that?
I think Dr. Adeyemi is very correct in listing out some of the challenges that are faced by healthcare providers and bringing some of these equipment into Nigeria. Yes, a lot of work has to be done on the existing processes and things to make things easier, streamline some of these HS codes and all that. And there's a lot of work that is currently being done, liaising with the customs service. The Nigerian Healthcare Federation does quite a bit of work on these HS codes and all of that. One thing I do have to say, though, is that DrugStoc has come in to be the provider for health. There's no reason why a healthcare provider should not just focus on his business and allow the supply chain operators to focus on theirs. And the fragmentation that I talked about earlier is part of the reason why Dr. Adeyemi is focusing on his supply chain instead of focusing on just the patients. And typically, when supply chain providers like us have worked through these systems, yes, they're difficult, yes, they're challenging, but after we've done it several times, we've gotten used to working these systems and face considerably less, or are used to the challenges that come with the space, as opposed to a healthcare provider who might be doing it once or twice a year or every couple of years. to get in his much needed medical equipment.
Thank you for that. We had FBN Quest Merchant Bank on the show yesterday. We're looking at tech funding. HealthTech pulled in about $40 million in funding. I think it was third place behind fintech, software, and e-commerce. I mean, you've made the news as far as, tech funding is concerned. As far as that number, the $40 million, should that be higher based on Nigeria's healthcare challenges?
That's a very interesting question. Of course, I'd like it to be higher, but I think that funding typically chases challenges. Now, we do have a significant challenge within the healthcare sector, but one of the challenges that is paramount to the sector is the traditionally fragmented systems, and it's usually very difficult. Or I can imagine that an investor who wants to put money into the industry might find it challenging to lay his hand on, a potential product that they will support, because we have a lot of small, medium-scale businesses that are also having business challenges that face the small and medium companies. In terms of attracting business, these all have to do with documentation, provision of keeping the right the things that institutional investors typically request. These are things that need to be worked on. So, yes, there is a need for more investment into the space.
All right.
But there's also a need for more institutionalization of businesses in the space to attract more funding.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Chibuzo Opara, co-founder, CEO of DrugStoc. Congratulations on the raise again, and thank you for talking to the Global Business Report on the Rise TV. Appreciate your time.